It started with a whisper that spread through the set like wildfire. Nobody saw it coming, not Kirk, not Rashida, and certainly not Kendra. Yet, within minutes, one confession would flip everything upside down and send shockwaves through Atlanta's reality scene. Cameras were rolling, mics were hot, and the cast of Love and Hip Hop had gathered for what was supposed to be a casual group dinner to clear the air after weeks of tension. But what happened that night left even the producers speechless. It began with subtle side-eyes and uneasy laughter. Rashida sat stiff beside Kirk, her diamond necklace catching the restaurant lights as if mocking the calm before the storm. Across the table, Kendra sipped her wine, avoiding eye contact, her hands trembling ever so slightly. She'd been quiet for weeks, dodging rumors, skipping filming days, and reportedly crying backstage. The crew thought she was exhausted from her issues with Jock, but something far deeper was brewing inside her, and that night, she couldn't hide it any longer. As the dinner rolled on, tensions started bubbling. Mendices joked about couples therapy, Yandi chimed in with her usual optimism, and Jock tried to lighten the mood with a laugh that felt forced. But when Kirk leaned forward to pour Rashida a drink, Kendra's eyes followed him, not with casual curiosity, but with the kind of look that makes everyone around the table pause. Even the server froze for a second. And then, the unthinkable happened. Kendra placed her glass down, exhaled and said, "I can't keep pretending anymore." The table went silent. Rashida frowned. Kirk glanced up in confusion, and Jock muttered, "What you mean by that?" Kendra looked around, her voice trembling but clear. "I love Kirk." The reaction was instant gasps, dropped forks, someone muttering, "You playin' right." Rashida's face went pale. Kirk's jaw tightened, the veins on his forehead visible as he tried to process what he'd just heard. Jock pushed his chair back, completely thrown off. The producers' walkie-talkies started buzzing, and within seconds, the whole crew swarmed in. Cameras zooming closer, because this was TV gold. "Kendra, what are you saying?" Rashida asked, her voice breaking, equal parts anger and disbelief. But Kendra didn't back down. "I said what I said," she repeated, staring directly at Kirk. "I'm tired of hiding my feelings. I've tried to ignore it, but I can't. I fell for him, and I'm done pretending." The air grew thick. No one moved. Rashida's hands were shaking. Jock looked like his world just shattered, and Kirky just sat there, silent, eyes darting between his wife and the woman who had just confessed to loving him on national television. The entire cast was stunned. Social media would soon explode, but in that moment, the only sound was Rashida's shallow breathing and the faint hum of the camera lights. What Kendra said next would make things even worse, and no one was ready for what followed. The restaurant air felt thick enough to choke on. Everyone's eyes were on Kendra, and she knew there was no going back. The silence dragged on until Kirk finally leaned forward, his voice low but sharp. "What are you talking about, Kendra? You're joking, right?" His attempt to laugh came out uneven, like he was hoping she'd take it back. But Kendra didn't flinch. "No, Kirk, I'm serious." She said it like a confession she'd been holding in for years. Her eyes glistened, not from shame but from exhaustion, the kind of exhaustion that comes when secrets eat at your soul. Rashida stared at her like she was looking at a stranger. Her fingers clenched around the stem of her glass, and for a moment, she didn't breathe. The cameras zoomed in. Everyone knew this was about to get ugly. Rashida's voice cut through the silence like a knife. "You love my husband," she said, barely above a whisper. "You of all people." Her tone shifted from disbelief to fury, the kind that trembles just before it explodes. Kendra nodded slowly, her voice cracking. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. I tried to fight it. I swear I did." Jock stood up, his chair scraping the floor. "Nah, you not about to sit here and say that in front of me like it's nothing. You been acting funny for weeks. But this right here." He pointed at her, his face twisted in anger. "You done lost your mind, Kendra." Kirk rubbed his temples, his frustration building. "Man, this is crazy. Why are we even having this conversation right now? This ain't the time or place." Rashida slammed her hand on the table. "Then when you want to talk about everything else on camera and now suddenly you want to be private?" She turned to Kendra, her voice shaking. "You've been around my family, around my kids, and this whole time you've been feeling like that about my husband." Kendra wiped her eyes, trying to stay composed. "Rashida, I respect you. I never wanted to hurt you. But feelings don't just disappear because they're inconvenient." The table erupted in chaos. Yandi leaned over, whispering to Mendices, "This is bad. Like, really bad." Even Sierra covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh Lord." She done said it out loud. Kirk pushed his chair back, trying to get control of the situation. "Nah, this is going too far. We not about to make a scene in front of everybody? But Rashida wasn't done. She stood up, glaring at Kendra. You think I don't see what's happening here? You think I haven't noticed you showing up where he is, acting all sweet and quiet? Kendra's composure cracked. It wasn't like that. I tried to stay away, but every time I saw him, she stopped, realizing how bad it sounded. Jock laughed bitterly. Yeah, keep going. Tell us all how my fiancé been falling for my boy right in front of me. His voice broke at the end, and he turned away, shaking his head. The producers exchanged nervous glances, trying to decide whether to step in or let the drama unfold. The camera lights burned hotter, and every word hung heavy in the humid air. Rashida crossed her arms, her voice now icy. So what exactly are you saying, Kendra? You in love with him? Or you just think you are because your relationship's falling apart? Kendra swallowed hard. I know what I feel, Rashida, and I know it sounds wrong, but it's real. Kirk threw his hands up. Man, come on. This is ridiculous. I ain't done nothing with her. She trippin'. But even as he said it, his tone wasn't convincing. Rashida caught that hesitation and her eyes narrowed. You sure about that, Kirk? You sure there's nothing you ain't telling me? The tension rose, like heat off asphalt. Kirk stood, trying to steady his voice. Look, I got respect for everybody at this table. I don't know what's gotten into Kendra, but this right here, it's not what it sounds like. Kendra laughed bitterly, tears spilling down her cheeks. It's exactly what it sounds like. Kirk, stop pretending you don't know what I'm talking about. Gasps erupted again. Rashida's chair screeched as she stood up fully now, her voice trembling with rage. You better not tell me y'all crossed a line, Kirk. Kirk froze. His silence was louder than any confession. Rashida's eyes filled with disbelief as she backed away from the table. You serious right now? She whispered. Kirk finally spoke, his tone low. Nothing happened, Rash. I swear. But maybe I didn't handle things right. Rashida laughed bitterly. Oh, you didn't handle things right? That's what we calling emotional cheating now. Kendra tried to speak, but Rashida cut her off. Nah. You stay quiet. You already said enough. Jock slammed his drink on the table, the glass cracking. You've been lying to me this whole time, Kendra. While I've been fighting for us, you've been looking at another man. Kendra turned toward him, her voice breaking. It wasn't supposed to happen, Jock. I didn't go looking for it. It just what? He shouted. Just happened. Nah, don't give me that. You don't accidentally fall in love with your friend's husband. The tension in the room was unbearable. Security stepped forward subtly, ready in case things escalated. Kirk rubbed the back of his neck, his expression unreadable. I can't believe this, he muttered. How did it even get to this point? Yandi spoke softly, trying to calm things down. Look, maybe everyone just needs to step outside, cool off. This ain't the place. But nobody moved. The producers whispered into their earpieces, deciding to keep the cameras rolling. They knew the ratings from this episode would skyrocket. Rashida turned to Kendra one last time. You want to be real honest tonight? Tell me something. How long you been feeling this way? Kendra hesitated, then whispered, months. Rashida's face hardened. Months, she repeated. So while I was defending you, inviting you into my home, you were sitting there wanting my husband. Kendra's tears came faster now. I didn't want to feel it. I tried to stop, but you can't control love. That sentence sent a ripple of outrage across the table. Jock shook his head in disgust, muttering, nah, that's not love. That's betrayal. Rashida didn't blink. You right, she said coldly. That's exactly what it is. She picked up her purse, straightened her dress, and turned to Kirk. You and we'll finish this later, not in front of cameras. And with that, she walked out. The sound of her heels echoed through the restaurant like thunder. Kirk didn't follow. He just stood there, staring at the empty space where she'd been. The cast sat frozen, unsure whether to comfort Kendra or keep their distance. Jock's chest rose and fell rapidly, his jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. He finally turned to Kendra. You just ruined everything. Whatever we had, it's over. His voice cracked, and he stormed out, chasing after Rashida, leaving Kendra alone with her guilt. Kendra covered her face with her hands, her sobs quiet at first, then louder. Kirk looked at her, conflicted, the weight of everything pressing down. Why'd you do that? He asked softly. She lifted her head, her mascara-streaked eyes swollen. Because living a lie was killing me, she whispered. I couldn't breathe anymore, pretending I didn't care. Kirk shook his head slowly. You just blew up your whole life. And mine too. She reached for his hand, but he pulled back. Don't, he said. Not here. Not like this. She froze, her hand trembling midair before she let it fall. The cameras zoomed in on her broken expression. The whispers from other cast members filled the background, murmurs of disbelief, pity, and quiet judgment. Yandi leaned forward, her voice gentle but cautious. Kendra, I get that you felt something, but you gotta know the damage that just caused. There's no coming back from this. Kendra nodded weakly. I know, but at least now it's real. No more lies. Outside, flashes from paparazzi cameras lit up the parking lot as Rashida and Jock left together, both furious and humiliated. Inside, Kirk sat back down, running a hand over his face, muttering to himself, "This is a damn mess." Kendra looked at him, her voice soft but certain. "You don't have to say it. I know you feel something too." Kirk's eyes shot up, startled. "Don't put words in my mouth," he said. But deep down, something flickered in his gaze, guilt, confusion, maybe even truth. As the crew packed up, no one dared speak above a whisper. They all knew this wasn't just another storyline. This was about to explode across every blog, headline, and social media feed in America. Fans would be dissecting every look, every word, every tear. And behind all the chaos, Kendra sat alone, whispering under her breath, "At least now it's out there." But she didn't yet realize the real storm hadn't even begun. Outside the restaurant, chaos had already broken loose. Fans and paparazzi crowded the parking lot, shouting questions and snapping photos as the cast tried to escape. The story had leaked within minutes. Someone from production had already texted a gossip blogger, and by the time Rashida and Jock reached their cars, their phones were buzzing non-stop. Notifications poured in, Instagram posts, Twitter threads, headlines screaming love and hip-hop scandal. Kendra confesses feelings for Kirk Frost. Rashida scrolled through in disbelief, her hands shaking as she muttered, "This can't be happening right now." Jock slammed his car door, pacing beside her. "Nah, it's happening." And she said it like she proud of it, like she ain't just blow up her whole relationship. Meanwhile, inside, Kendra sat at the table long after everyone had left. Kirk was still there, staring blankly at the empty wine glass in front of him. Neither of them spoke for a while. Finally, Kendra broke the silence. "I didn't mean to say it like that," she said quietly, "but it's been eating me alive." Kirk sighed, still not looking at her. "You just put a target on both our backs. Rashida's hurt, Jock's humiliated, and I'm stuck right in the middle." Kendra reached for him, her hand trembling. "I know, but I couldn't keep pretending." Kirk leaned back, his tone low. Pretending would have been better than destroying for people's lives in one night. The tension between them was thick, and the camera crew didn't dare pack up yet. One producer whispered, "Keep rolling," because they could feel there was more to come. Kirk rubbed his face, his frustration spilling out. "You don't even know what you started. Kendra, you think this about love? This is about headlines, blogs, fan comments. People gone twist this 100 different ways before sunrise." Kendra's eyes glistened. "Let them talk. They already do. At least now, I'm telling my truth." Kirk shook his head. "Truth, or a confession you can't take back." Across town, Rashida sat in her car, crying silently. Jock was beside her, trying to comfort her even though he was falling apart himself. "I can't believe this, Jock," she whispered. "All the times I stood up for Kirk, all the mess we've been through, and now this." Jock nodded, his jaw tight. "Yeah, and I can't believe I was sleeping next to someone who was secretly in love with another man. My friend, no less." They both sat there in silence, headlights reflecting off their faces. Two people who'd just lost trust in the people closest to them. Social media was already ablaze. Fans flooded timelines with theories and outrage. One tweet read, "Kendra really said she loves Kirk. Nah, this show getting wild." Another said, "Rashida deserves better. How many times she gotta deal with humiliation on TV?" Hashtags trended within an hour. Hashtag Kendra Kirk, #RASHEEDA, hashtag Love Triangle. And by morning, every entertainment site had picked it up. Back at the set, Kirk finally stood up, exhausted. "I'm out," he muttered, grabbing his jacket. Kendra followed him out, desperate. "Please, just listen to me. I'm not trying to ruin your marriage." Kirk turned, his face twisted with disbelief. "Then what are you doing, Kendra? What's the point of saying all that if you knew it would wreck everything?" Kendra stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Because I needed you to know that what I feel is real. I can't keep being silent." Kirk took a deep breath, lowering his voice. "You don't get it. This isn't a fairy tale. This is real life. And real life don't end with happy endings." By the time they reached the parking lot, paparazzi lights flashed in their faces. Someone shouted, "Kirk, are you leaving Rashida for Kendra?" Kirk froze, glaring at the cameras. "No comment," he said sharply, pushing through the crowd. Kendra shielded her face, whispering under her breath, It wasn't supposed to be like this. The next day, Atlanta woke up to the scandal plastered everywhere. Gossip blogs dissected every frame of the dinner footage. Fans zoomed in on body language, speculating whether Kirk had been secretly leading Kendra on. One clip in particular where Kirk briefly touched her hand earlier that night went viral, captioned the moment that exposed everything. Kirk's team released a brief statement saying he was focused on his family and wouldn't be commenting further. But it was too late. The damage was done. Rashida refused to film the next few days. She stayed home, ignoring calls from producers. Her mother came over, sitting beside her on the couch. "Baby, you can't let them break you down again," she said softly. Rashida wiped her eyes. "I just don't get why it keeps happening to me, Mama. Every time I start to feel secure, something comes out of nowhere." Her mother hugged her tight. "Because you love too deep. But sometimes, that's what makes people take advantage." On the other side of town, Jock was pacing his living room, angry and restless. When Kendra finally walked in, his face hardened. "So now what?" he asked. "You want me to act like everything's fine? Like you ain't just confessed love for my friend on TV?" Kendra's voice was hoarse. "I know I messed up, Jock, but I can't lie about what's in my heart." Jock laughed bitterly. "Your heart, girl, your heart just embarrassed both of us. I can't even walk into a barber shop without somebody asking if Kirk taking my fiancé now." Kendra tried to reach for him, but he stepped back. "Don't touch me," he said coldly. "You had your moment of honesty. Now live with it." He stormed out, slamming the door. Kendra stood there, tears streaming down, whispering to herself, "Why does love have to hurt like this?" Later that evening, Kirk met with Mendices at a studio. He needed advice, someone neutral. "Man, I don't even know how to handle this," Kirk said, rubbing his forehead. "Rashida won't talk to me, the internet going crazy, and Kendra acting like she did something noble." Mendices shook his head slowly. "Bro, you gotta fix this quick. Public perception is a beast. Even if you didn't do nothing, people believe what they see." Kirk nodded. "Yeah, but what if Rashida don't believe me either?" Mendices looked him dead in the eye. "Then you better make her believe, before someone else convinces her otherwise." As night fell, Kendra sat alone scrolling through her phone. Messages from fans flooded her inbox, some supportive, most vicious. One, "Read, you homewrecker. Leave Kirk and Rashida alone." Another said, "At least she brave enough to tell the truth." She put her phone down, exhausted. She knew she had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Around midnight, her phone buzzed again. It was a text from Kirk. "We need to talk. Alone." Her heart raced as she stared at the message. She typed back, "Where?" A few seconds later, he replied, "Studio. 1 hour." She hesitated, then grabbed her keys. She knew this conversation could either fix everything or destroy what little was left. When she arrived, Kirk was already there, sitting on the couch, staring at the floor. She sat down across from him. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, Kirk said, "Why me? Kendra, of all people, why me?" She swallowed hard. "Because you're real with me. Because you listen. Because when Jock yells, you calm me down." Kirk laughed bitterly. "So now I'm your peace. That's what you call it." She nodded. "You don't even see it, but yeah you are." Kirk leaned back, exhaling heavily. "Look, whatever you feel, it ain't love. It's confusion. And if you keep chasing it, it's gone ruin you." Kendra's voice softened. "Then why can't you look me in the eye when you say you don't feel anything back?" Kirk froze. She had him cornered. He looked up, meeting her gaze, and for a second, the tension between them felt dangerous. He stood abruptly. "You should go," he said, "before this gets even worse." But as she stood to leave, their hands brushed in for just a moment. Neither moved. The silence said more than words ever could. And that was when the door opened. A voice cut through the stillness. "So this what we doing now?" It was Rashida. Her expression was cold, her tone deadly calm. Kirk's heart dropped as she stepped inside, holding her phone up. "I followed my instincts," she said. "And look where it led me." Kendra froze, her face pale. Kirk stammered, "Rashida, it's not what it looks like," but she interrupted, her voice sharp, "It's exactly what it looks like." And in that single moment, every bit of tension, guilt, and buried emotion came crashing down, turning a private meeting into the biggest explosion of the season. Rashida stood there in the doorway, silent but shaking. The air was so thick with tension it almost hummed. Kirk's mouth opened and closed, no words coming out. Kendra's face turned red, her eyes wide, hands frozen midair as if caught stealing something sacred. Rashida stepped closer, her heels hitting the studio floor with slow, deliberate thuds. "So this is where y'all been hiding," she said, her voice calm in a way that was more dangerous than shouting. You think I'm stupid? You think I can't see what's going on right in front of me? Kirk tried to speak, but Rashida cut him off sharply. Nah, let me finish. After everything we've been through, all the chances, all the forgiveness, you still find a way to humiliate me again. Kirk ran a hand over his face, muttering, Rash, come on, it ain't even like that. She laughed bitterly. Oh, it's exactly like that. I walked in on you too. Lights low, door locked, whispering like it's some secret. Tell me, Kirk, how I'm supposed to see that? Kendra tried to step in, voice trembling. Rashida, please, I swear nothing happened tonight. We were just talking. Rashida snapped. You already said you in love with him. What's left to talk about? Your future plans together. Kendra flinched like she'd been slapped. No, she whispered, tears forming. I just wanted closure. Rashida shook her head slowly. Closure? You don't get closure from a married man. You get closure by staying away. Kirk stepped closer to her, lowering his voice. Look, Rash, you know I'd never cross that line. This whole thing just got out of hand. She caught feelings. That's on her. Rashida turned her head sharply. That's on her. So you just innocent now. You didn't feed into it. Didn't enjoy the attention? Kirk hesitated, and that silence told her everything she needed to know. Yeah, she said bitterly. That's what I thought. The door burst open again. Producers, security, and a few cast members had followed the noise. Jock was among them. The second he saw Kendra standing there beside Kirk, his expression turned cold. Unbelievable, he said under his breath. You couldn't even wait a day before running back to him. Kendra tried to explain. It's not like that, Jock, I swear. But he wasn't listening. Nah, I'm done listening. He said, you said you needed space, remember? I gave you that, and you used it to meet up with the same man you told the world you loved. Mendices stepped between them, trying to keep the situation from boiling over. Yo, chill out, man. This about to get out of hand. Jock pushed his hand away. It's already out of hand. This whole damn show's out of hand. The cameras caught every second the heartbreak on Jock's face, the fury in Rashida's eyes, the guilt on Kirk's, and the shame flooding Kendra's expression. It was the kind of chaos that made producers salivate, but for the people living it, it was nothing but pain. Kendra broke down crying. I didn't want this. I didn't want to hurt anybody. Jock snapped. Then why'd you say it? Kendra, why'd you say it in front of everybody if you didn't want to hurt nobody? Kendra's voice cracked. Because I couldn't keep lying. I thought honesty would set me free. Rashida shot her a glare sharp enough to cut glass. Yeah, and look at all the freedom you got now. You free of your man, free of your friends, free of respect. The producers tried to calm things, urging everyone to step outside, but the damage was already irreversible. Kirk turned toward Rashida, desperate. I'm not leaving you, he said quietly. We can fix this. She stared at him, her eyes glassy. You said that before, she replied. And every time, it gets worse. She walked toward the door, her voice shaking. I don't even know who you are anymore, Kirk. And then she was gone. Jock followed her out, muttering something under his breath about being done with all this fake love nonsense. The door slammed, leaving Kirk and Kendra alone again. Kendra sank to the floor, sobbing into her hands. Kirk stood there helplessly, running both hands over his head. Why'd you have to say that, Kendra? He said softly. You could have just kept it to yourself. Kendra looked up at him, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Because every time I saw you, I wanted to scream it, and now I finally did. He turned away, pacing the room. You think that's brave? You think that's love? That's destruction. Kendra, you ain't just ruined your relationship, you put a wrecking ball through mine too. She whispered, I didn't mean to. Kirk's voice cracked, raw and tired. Intent don't matter when the damage already done. The producers finally stepped in, signaling to the crew to cut the cameras. But the microphones kept recording, catching Kirk's last words. I need some air. He walked out, leaving Kendra sitting alone on the studio floor. Hours later, the leaked footage from that confrontation surfaced online. The clip went viral within minutes, Rashida's voice, trembling, Jock's fury, Kirk's silence, and Kendra's tears. Every blog, every gossip site, every fan account reposted it with captions like the confession wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Fans were divided. Some defended Kendra, calling her honest and brave. Others dragged her mercilessly, labeling her the homewrecker of Atlanta. By the next morning, Kendra couldn't leave her house. Reporters were waiting outside her gate. She turned off her phone, hiding from the chaos she'd unleashed. Inside, she scrolled through old pictures of her and Jock vacations parties, smiles that now felt fake. I broke everything, she whispered to herself. Everything good, Meanwhile, Kirk sat in his car outside his home, staring at the front door, afraid to go in. He knew Rashida was inside, probably packing or crying or both. He rehearsed what to say but couldn't find the right words. Finally, he stepped out, walked up to the door, and knocked softly. It opened after a long pause. Rashida stood there, her eyes red but her expression firm. "What do you want, Kirk?" she asked flatly. "I want to talk," he said. "I don't know how to fix this, but I'm not giving up on us." Rashida crossed her arms. "Funny how you find your fight after the cameras stop rolling." He sighed. "I messed up. Not by being with Herbie 'cause I wasn't, but by not shutting it down harder. I should have never let her think she had a chance." Rashida's lip quivered. "So you did know she had feelings for you?" Kirk hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, I knew, but I thought it'd pass." Her expression darkened. "You thought wrong." She turned away, and for a second, it looked like she was going to slam the door in his face, but instead, she whispered, "You can sleep in the guest room. That's all I got for you right now." He nodded, stepping inside quietly, grateful just to be let in. Across town, Jock sat with Yandi and Mendices at a diner, trying to calm himself. "Man, I can't believe I got played like that," he said, stirring his coffee without drinking it. Yandi leaned forward gently. "You didn't get played, Jock. You got caught in somebody else's mess. Don't carry guilt that ain't yours." Jock looked up, eyes tired. "Yeah, but I can't help feeling like I missed the signs. Maybe I wasn't giving her what she needed." Mendices shook his head. "Nah, bro. People make their own choices. That's on her, not you." Jock nodded slowly. "Still feels like I lost something real." By the end of the week, the show's producers released a statement confirming that filming would continue to explore the fallout of recent events. Translation: they were milking every drop of drama they could. Cameras followed everyone, the tension, the silence, the forced apologies. And in the middle of it all, Kendra tried to rebuild what little of her life was left. But the fans weren't done with her. At a public appearance a few days later, someone in the crowd shouted, as she walked past. She didn't react outwardly, but inside, it cut deep. She went home that night and wrote in her journal, "I told the truth, but the truth cost me everything." Meanwhile, Kirk and Rashida began counseling sessions. Cameras caught snippets of awkward silences, tears, guarded apologies. Kirk said softly, "I never wanted her. I only ever wanted you." Rashida stared at him for a long time before replying, "Then you should have acted like it." And back at her apartment, Kendra stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her phone buzzed, an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello," a familiar voice replied, low and hesitant. "It's Kirk." She froze. "Why are you calling me?" She whispered. "Because," he said, after a pause, "we need to end this the right way, before it destroys us both." That call set in motion one last meeting that none of them would forget, one that would change everything all over again. The restaurant had gone from quiet shock to explosive chaos in a matter of seconds. Rashida stood up, eyes burning with disbelief, as the producers signaled the crew to keep rolling. Kirk stayed frozen, his face unreadable, but the tension in his shoulders gave him away. Kendra sat still, tears beginning to form but her voice holding steady as she said again, "I didn't plan for this, but I'm done lying." Her words sliced through the air like glass, leaving everyone stunned into silence. Jock finally spoke up, slamming his hand on the table and demanding, "So what is this? Some kinda game? You love my friend's husband?" Kendra turned toward him, shaking her head. "It's not a game, Jock. I didn't ask for these feelings, but they're real." She looked exhausted, like she'd been carrying a secret that had been slowly killing her. Rashida crossed her arms, trembling with rage. "You don't even know what love is," she said coldly. "You're just another one of those women who confuse attention with affection. You think because Kirk listens to you when you're crying about Jock, that means something. Please." Kendra's lips quivered, but she didn't back down. "Rashida, I respect you. I swear I do. But you don't know what's been happening. Kirk's been there for me when no one else was." The moment she said it, the cast gasped again. Kirk's eyes shot toward her, panic flashing across his face. "What are you talking about, Kendra?" he asked quickly. "Don't twist this. Now." Kendra shook her head. "I'm not twisting anything, Kirk. I'm telling the truth. You were there. You told me I deserved better than to be crying myself to sleep every night." She looked right at him. "And I believed you." Kirk rubbed his forehead, visibly frustrated. "That don't mean I wanted this," he muttered. "You're putting me in a spot I never wanted to be in." Mendices leaned back in his chair, whispering to Yandi, "This is about to blow up." Yandi nodded, whispering back, "It already did." The cameras zoomed in closer as Rashida took a deep breath and said, So all those nights you said you were helping Jock with his music, you were really talking to his fiancée? Kirk didn't answer. His silence said everything. Rashida's expression hardened, tears threatening to spill, but she refused to let them. You embarrassed me again, she said quietly. After all these years, after all the mess we went through, you still find new ways to humiliate me. Kirk reached out to her hand, but she pulled it back like it burned. Meanwhile, Jock stood up, pacing back and forth. Nah, this is crazy, he said, laughing bitterly. This gotta be some kinda prank. Kendra turned toward him, eyes full of regret. It's not, Jock. I never meant to hurt you, but you haven't been there for me for a long time. You were always somewhere else, at the studio, at the club, surrounded by women. Jock shook his head. So what? That gives you the right to fall for my boy. His voice cracked, the anger giving way to something closer to heartbreak. We've been through too much for you to disrespect me like this. The tension spread across the table like wildfire. Yandi tried to speak up. Maybe everyone just needs to calm down for a second. But Rashida snapped. No, we're not calming down. Because every time something happens, we calm down. And then Kirk goes and does something worse. She looked straight at Kendra. You should have come to me, woman to woman. Not like this. Kendra took a deep breath, her voice softer now. I wanted to, but I didn't know how. It just happened. By now, other diners had turned their heads, realizing this was no ordinary dinner. Phones were recording, flashes going off as gossip blogs started posting live updates. Kirk stood up, signaling the producers, cut the cameras, man. But one producer whispered off-screen, this is the biggest moment of the season. Kirk, we can't cut now. He cursed under his breath, running a hand over his face, knowing his marriage was unraveling on national television yet again. Rashida looked him dead in the eye. You always said you were done embarrassing me, but somehow, you always find a way. Kirk exhaled heavily, saying, you think I wanted this? I didn't ask for this mess, Rashida. I didn't encourage her feelings. But Kendra interrupted softly. You didn't stop them either. The table went silent again. Jock muttered under his breath. I can't believe this. The producers moved the scene outside, hoping the fresh air would calm things down, but it only made the drama louder. Fans gathered near the entrance, whispering, taking videos, shouting things like, Rashida, don't take him back this time. And Kendra, you wild for this. As they stepped out, the night air felt heavy, almost electric. Kendra stood near her car, crying quietly, while Jock kept pacing near the valet stand. Kirk followed Rashida to the curb, trying to talk to her, but she refused to look at him. You got something to say. Say it to my lawyer, she said coldly. Kirk sighed. Rashida, come on, you know I didn't cross that line. She turned sharply. No, because it sure sounds like you emotionally cheated. And in my book, that's just as bad. She got into her car and slammed the door, leaving Kirk standing there, looking lost. Back near the restaurant, Jock finally walked up to Kendra. You ruined everything, he said quietly. Whatever we had left, you just destroyed it. Kendra wiped her tears, whispering, maybe it was already gone. That hit him hard. He shook his head, whispering back, nah, don't twist it like that. I might mess up sometimes, but I loved you. Kendra looked up at him with red, swollen eyes. Then why didn't it feel like it? She said. He didn't answer. He couldn't. The cast members who had followed outside watched from a distance. Yandi whispered to Mendices, this is gonna be trending in an hour. And she was right. Within minutes, phones were lighting up across social media. Hashtags like hashtag Kendra loves Kirk and hashtag RASHEED, a heartbreak started circulating. People were already picking sides, analyzing body language, replaying every clip. Some fans accused Kendra of chasing clout, while others claimed Rashida had been too cold for too long. But the truth, no one really knew. Back inside the restaurant, Kirk sat back down alone, staring at his untouched drink. The cameras kept rolling quietly as he whispered to himself, how did we get here again? His voice cracked just enough for the mic to catch it. The weight of years of drama, mistrust, and bad decisions hung heavy in that single question. And though the night was over, the real storm was only beginning. The next morning, Atlanta woke up buzzing. The footage hadn't even aired yet, but leaks were already everywhere. Short clips from cell phones inside the restaurant were circulating on social media. People were arguing online, some calling Kendra bold, others calling her broken. Kirk and Rashida's names trended all over Twitter, and by sunrise, every gossip blog from Hollywood Unlocked to The Shade Room had the headline, Love and hip-hop bombshell. Kendra confesses love for Kirk Frost. Producers tried to keep things under control, but it was too late. The story had gone viral. Inside Rashida's house, things were tense and eerily quiet. Kirk sat in the kitchen, his head buried in his hands, while Rashida stood by the counter scrolling through her phone, watching the chaos unfold online. "So this what we doing again?" she said finally, breaking the silence. "This what my marriage has come to, public humiliation?" Kirk didn't look up. "Rashida, I swear to God, I didn't know she was gonna say that," he said. "She blindsided me too." Rashida laughed bitterly. "Oh please, Kirk. You think I haven't seen this movie before? Same setup, different woman. Every time there's a rumor, you say you didn't see it coming. Well, guess what? I'm done being blindsided." She slammed her phone on the counter. "You should have shut that girl down the moment she started catching feelings. But no, you liked it. You liked feeling like somebody's savior." Kirk finally looked up, his eyes tired and red. "You think I liked this? I was just trying to help her through her stuff with Jock. She came to me crying, talking about how lost she felt. I gave her advice. That's it." Rashida crossed her arms, her tone sharp. "Advice doesn't end with a woman telling the world she loves you." Kirk exhaled, shaking his head. "You always think the worst of me." She stared back, unflinching. "Because you've given me every reason to." Meanwhile, across town, Kendra was at her apartment, surrounded by half-packed suitcases and unopened text messages. Her phone buzzed non-stop, producers' friends, even fans sending both sympathy and hate. She ignored most of them, staring at the TV where a gossip show replayed her confession over and over. The host said dramatically, "Kendra confesses her love for Kirk Frost in what could be the most shocking moment of the season." She turned off the TV, covered her face, and whispered, "What have I done?" Jock barged in minutes later, slamming the door behind him. "You couldn't even call me before the whole world found out," he shouted. Kendra flinched but didn't speak. "You made me look like a damn fool," he continued, pacing. "You had every chance to keep this between us, but no, you had to turn it into a scene." Kendra looked up, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You think I planned that? You think I wanted the whole world to see me break down?" She wiped her eyes. "It just came out. I couldn't take it anymore." Jock laughed coldly. "Nah, you could have taken it. You just wanted attention. You wanted somebody to feel sorry for you." Kendra stood, her voice shaking but firm. "You stopped caring a long time ago, Jock. Every night you were out, I sat here wondering if you were coming home. And when you did, you barely looked at me." Kirk was the only one who actually listened. "He treated me like I mattered." Jock clenched his jaw, his voice rising. "Yeah, because he's slick. He knows exactly what to say. He's been doing this for years, manipulating women, and you fell right into it." He grabbed his jacket, shaking his head. "You messed up big time. And don't call me when the fans turn on you, because they will." He walked out, slamming the door so hard that a picture frame fell from the wall. As the day went on, the fallout spread. Yandy called Rashida, trying to calm her down. "Girl, I know you're mad, but you gotta think about how you want to play this on camera," she said softly. "This could go either way. You can own the narrative or let them twist it." Rashida sighed heavily. "I don't even care about the cameras right now, Yandy. I care about the fact that I can't trust my husband around anyone." Later that afternoon, Kirk showed up unannounced at Kendra's apartment. When she opened the door and saw him standing there in a hoodie and sunglasses, she froze. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. Kirk glanced around, making sure no cameras were following him. "I just needed to talk," he said. "We gotta fix this before it ruins everything." Kendra stepped aside, letting him in, her eyes red from crying. "It's already ruined, Kirk," she said quietly. "I can't go anywhere without people calling me a home." He rubbed his face. "I never wanted it to get this far." She looked at him, hurt and confused. "Then why didn't you stop me?" Kirk hesitated, then said, "Because I didn't know how. You were going through it with Jock, and I didn't want to make you feel worse." Kendra stepped closer, searching his face. "Be honest with me, Kirk. Did you ever feel something back?" He hesitated too long. That silence was an answer on its own. She took a shaky breath. "You did," Kirk whispered. "It doesn't matter. I love my wife." She nodded slowly. "And I loved a man who was never mine." Unbeknownst to them, a fan walking her dog across the street recognized Kirk's car and took photos of him leaving Kendra's building. Within an hour, the images hit Instagram with the caption, "Kirk Frost caught sneaking into Kendra's apartment after her shocking confession." The comment section exploded. Fans speculated whether they were rekindling something or trying to cover up the truth. Rashida saw the post and threw her phone onto the couch, muttering, "He just doesn't stop." Later that evening, filming resumed for Damage Control. The producers arranged a sit-down between the four of them: Kirk, Rashida, Jock, and Kendra. The tension was unbearable. They sat across from each other, cameras rolling, the air so heavy you could hear the buzz of the lights. Jock started first. "So, Kirk, you still saying this was all innocent?" Kirk replied calmly but coldly, "I never crossed that line." Rashida scoffed. "You mean not physically? Because emotionally, you were halfway gone." Kendra's voice cracked as she said, "It wasn't supposed to happen. I just wanted to feel seen." Jock turned to her, "And you picked my boy for that? What kind of betrayal is that?" Kendra broke down, tears streaming down her face. "I know I hurt everyone. I know I messed up, but I didn't plan any of this. I was just lost." She turned toward Rashida. "I'm sorry." Rashida didn't answer right away. She looked at Kendra with a mix of pity and exhaustion. "You're not the first woman who thought Kirk was her savior," she said. "And sadly, you probably won't be the last." Kirk rubbed his hands together, his voice low. "This conversation don't even matter if none of us listen." Jock leaned forward, glaring. "Nah, it matters. Because I need to know what happens next. Are you two done talking? Or we still gotta worry about more surprises?" Kirk didn't respond. The silence stretched out for so long that even the producers exchanged nervous glances. Finally, Kirk said, "I don't want anything with Kendra. I just want to fix my marriage." Kendra nodded, wiping her tears. "I get it. I'm walking away. For good." The cameras zoomed in on her face as she stood and left the room without looking back. But as she walked out, the tears returned not from guilt, but from heartbreak. And though everyone thought the story was finally over, no one knew that another twist was waiting, one that would make this drama explode all over again. The next day, production was supposed to pause to let everyone breathe, but nothing about this situation allowed space to breathe. The confession had taken on a life of its own, and now every media outlet in Atlanta wanted an exclusive. The show's producers were thrilled behind closed doors, calling it ratings magic. But for the cast, it felt like their private pain had become a circus. Kirk tried to call Rashida that morning, but her number went straight to voicemail. She had packed a bag and driven to her mother's house the night before, refusing to speak to him. Instead, she posted a cryptic message on Instagram: "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." Within minutes, the comments section flooded with messages of support, sympathy, and a few brutal reminders of her past heartbreaks. Meanwhile, Kirk sat in his car outside their home, scrolling through his own phone. Every notification was another blow, calling him toxic, old clips of his past scandals resurfacing, and even former cast members commenting under gossip posts. He slammed his phone onto the seat and muttered, "This is getting out of hand." Then, unexpectedly, his manager called. "Listen, Kirk VH1 wants a one-on-one interview about the situation," the voice said. "They're saying it'll give you a chance to tell your side." Kirk hesitated, rubbing his temples. "Nah man, that's what got me in trouble before. I talk, they twist it." But the manager insisted, "If you stay silent, they'll write the story for you." Later that afternoon, Kirk reluctantly agreed. He walked into the studio wearing dark shades, sitting under the harsh lights as the interviewer started gently, asking about his marriage and his reaction to Kendra's confession. Kirk tried to sound composed, saying, "It caught me off guard. I didn't expect her to say something like that on camera. I was just being a friend." But the interviewer pressed further. "Some fans say your friendship with Kendra seemed too personal, especially since you've been through similar situations before. Can you honestly say there was nothing emotional there?" Kirk paused, his throat tightening. "I care about Kendra as a person," he said carefully. "But that's it. I love my wife." The interviewer didn't look convinced, and neither did the internet when the clips aired later that evening. Across town, Rashida was watching from her mother's living room. Her arms were crossed, her face unreadable, but her eyes glistened. Her mother said quietly, "You can forgive him, but don't lose yourself doing it again." Rashida sighed. "I'm not sure I can forgive him this time, Mama. It's not just what he did, it's how easy it was for him to let another woman get close again." Her mother reached for her hand, squeezing it softly. "Baby, sometimes people never change. The only question is, are you willing to keep hoping they will?" While Kirk's interview stirred one kind of reaction, Kendra's silence created another. Fans began demanding that she tell her side. Finally, that evening, she went live on Instagram, sitting in her living room with no makeup, eyes swollen from crying. "I know y'all think I'm a homewrecker," she began softly, "but the truth is, I never meant to hurt anybody." Thousands of viewers flooded in. "When I said I loved Kirk, I didn't mean I wanted to take him from his wife. I loved how he treated me like I mattered, something I hadn't felt in a long time. She paused, tears rolling down her cheeks. But maybe I confused kindness for love, and that's on me. Her live went viral instantly. Some fans praised her honesty, while others accused her of playing victim. Jock, meanwhile, was at a club appearance that same night, trying to pretend nothing was wrong, but fans wouldn't let it go. Someone shouted, "How you feel about Kendra and Kirk?" from the crowd, and Jock's forced smile faltered. He grabbed the mic and said, "Look, people make mistakes. I ain't perfect, and neither is she. But one thing about me, I ain't never gonna beg for love that don't want to stay." The crowd cheered, but the sadness in his eyes told another story. By the next morning, rumors began swirling again, this time about unseen footage. According to several crew members, there was a private conversation between Kirk and Kendra filmed right before the dinner scene, one that never made it to air. Insiders claimed that Kirk had told her, "If I wasn't married, things might be different." That single line, if true, would destroy any defense Kirk had left. The network refused to confirm or deny, but fans demanded answers. Producers seized the opportunity, teasing an unedited version of the episode to air next week. When the news reached Rashida, she called Kirk immediately. "You told her that?" she asked, her voice cold and low. Kirk sighed heavily. "Rashida, that clip ain't even real. They spliced it together." But she didn't believe him. "It sounds like you. It sounds exactly like something you'd say." She hung up before he could respond. Kirk threw his phone on the table, pacing back and forth. Turning my life into a storyline again," he muttered. As the week went on, the cast filmed their Yandi described the moment as unreal. Mendices said it was a car crash you couldn't look away from. And Jock admitted he was still trying to figure out how everything fell apart so fast. Kendra's confessional, though, was the one that hit hardest. She looked directly into the camera and said, "I didn't steal anyone's man. I just fell for the wrong one." Her voice cracked as she added, "Sometimes love makes you do foolish things, but owning it, that's the only way to heal." The producers ended her segment there, but off camera, Kendra asked if she could talk to Rashida privately. When the two women finally sat down days later, there was no screaming, no cameras, just a quiet, tense conversation. Rashida broke the silence first. "You hurt me," she said softly. "And not just because of Kirk. Because I really thought you were different." Kendra nodded, unable to meet her eyes. "I know, and I hate that I'm part of your pain. I wish I could take it back." Rashida looked at her for a long time, then said, "The sad part is you probably meant that." For a few seconds, neither woman spoke. Then Rashida stood and said, "I don't forgive you. Not yet. But I hope one day you forgive yourself." She walked out, leaving Kendra sitting there in tears. Outside, the sun was setting, and somewhere down the street, paparazzi cameras clicked. None of them knew that in a few days, everything would explode again because one of the cast members had just leaked a secret text thread that would change everything. The night Kirk Frost broke down publicly was one no one in Atlanta's celebrity circle would ever forget. It began with what was supposed to be a small, intimate listening event for Rashida's upcoming music project, hosted at a luxury lounge downtown. The lights were low, cameras were present but controlled, and the crowd was packed with familiar faces: Stevie J, Carly Red, Sierra Gates, and even young Jock. But when Kirk arrived, he looked nothing like the slick, confident businessman people were used to seeing. His face carried exhaustion, his clothes hung slightly loose, and the energy around him felt heavy. Rashida, who had been radiant on stage minutes earlier, froze when she saw him walk in. He wasn't there to support her. He was there to be seen, to make a statement, and to finally address the whispering storm that had swallowed his reputation. For weeks, the blogs had been tearing him apart. Headlines like "Kirk loses it after Jasmine's engagement goes viral," and "Rashida and Kirk headed for divorce again," were everywhere. Kirk had been quiet through it all, but silence was no longer working. When the microphone somehow found its way into his hands during an impromptu toast, the crowd went still. He started off calm, thanking everyone for supporting Rashida and the Frost legacy, but then his voice began to tremble, his words stumbled, and the bitterness that had been bottled up for months spilled into the open. "Everybody wanna talk about Kirk Frost like they know me," he said, his tone rising. "Y'all act like I ain't human, like I don't bleed, like I don't hurt." Jasmine moved on. "And yeah, it hurts. It hurts because I gave her my loyalty when the world called her every name in the book." Gasps rippled through the room. Rashida's jaw clenched, her nails digging into the tablecloth. Kirk went on, eyes glistening under the stage lights. I made mistakes, but I also loved people when they didn't deserve it. And now, everybody wanna act like I'm the villain. Cameras came up. The moment was no longer private, it was viral content waiting to explode. Rashida's publicist tried to intervene, but Kirk ignored her, looking directly at Rashida. You think this is easy for me? Watching you shine, watching Jasmine get proposed to, and I'm the one left behind, like I never mattered. The tension in the room thickened until it felt hard to breathe. Rashida stood up, her expression unreadable, and walked straight out without saying a word. Jock whispered to Sierra, "Man, this just turned into a headline," and he was right. Within an hour, clips of Kirk's emotional outburst were circulating online under captions like "Kirk Frost meltdown caught on camera, still in love with Jasmine," and "Rashida walks out mid-speech, marriage done for good." The internet had its spectacle, but behind all the chaos, Kirk's pain was real. Later that night, he was spotted sitting alone in his car outside Frost Bistro, his hands covering his face, tears streaming down as paparazzi flashes lit up his window. A source close to him told the Shade Room, "Kirk's trying to hold it together, but losing both women he loved in different ways has broken something inside him." Back at home, Rashida sat in silence on the edge of their bed, scrolling through comments that were split between sympathy and mockery. Some fans called Kirk's speech a desperate cry for help, while others said it was karma coming full circle. Rashida wasn't sure which one hurt more, than betrayal years ago or the public unraveling now. When Kirk finally came home, she didn't look up. He quietly said, "I didn't mean for it to go that way." She replied softly, "You never do, Kirk." That single line carried the weight of everything left unsaid between them. The next morning, she posted a cryptic message on her Instagram story. "Sometimes love isn't lost, it just outgrows the people who can't protect it." Fans flooded her DMs, asking if it meant the end. Meanwhile, Jasmine posted a serene beach photo with her fiancé, captioned, "Peace hits different when it's earned." The contrast between their worlds couldn't have been clearer. Kirk had reached his breaking point, but the story was far from over. His meltdown had not only reignited old wounds, it had set off a chain of events that would force everyone involved to confront what they had been running from all along. And as the smoke of that night settled, Atlanta braced itself for the next chapter in the never-ending Frost saga. The morning after Kirk's breakdown, Atlanta woke up to chaos. Every gossip blog, entertainment page, and celebrity podcast was replaying his emotional speech from the night before. The audio clips had gone viral, dissected frame by frame, word by word. But while Kirk's tears dominated headlines, Jasmine Washington's engagement was quietly turning into the city's biggest scandal. Her fiancé, a rising entrepreneur named Malik Carter, had proposed during a candlelit yacht dinner off the Miami coast, a grand moment that should have sealed her happiness. But instead of celebration, the video of Malik sliding the ring onto Jasmine's finger became ammunition for a divided audience. The internet couldn't decide whether she'd finally found redemption or was flaunting her success to hurt Kirk and Rashida. Within hours, blogs began pulling old footage, comparing Kirk's speech with Jasmine's proposal. One clip titled "Kirk crying while Jasmine says yes to another man," timing or taunt, had over 3 million views in a day. Fans commented things like, "She moved on too fast," and "This feels calculated." Others defended her fiercely. "She deserves peace after years of being dragged." But as the noise grew louder, insiders claimed that the engagement wasn't as smooth as it appeared. A close friend of Jasmine's, speaking anonymously, told Atlanta Urban Buzz, "Malik's been supportive, but he didn't like how much Kirk's name came up during the proposal night. He said he's not trying to be anyone's replacement." That remark sparked a new round of speculation. Was Jasmine truly in love, or still haunted by her past with Kirk Frost? Things took a sharper turn days later, when Malik unfollowed Jasmine on Instagram after fans flooded his comments with comparisons to Kirk. Rumors began swirling that he felt used for clout. Meanwhile, Rashida stayed eerily silent, not posting, not liking, not commenting. But silence has its own power, and in Atlanta, it speaks louder than words. When she finally did appear, it was in a sleek black outfit outside Frost Bistro, walking confidently past paparazzi with a simple, "I'm good, baby," to a reporter who asked how she was holding up. Her poise went viral again, and people began calling her the queen who never cracks. Yet behind that image, Rashida was privately wrestling with mixed emotions. She had spent years rebuilding trust, defending her marriage, and keeping her brand intact. Seeing Jasmine radiant and engaged while Kirk's reputation unraveled reopened wounds she thought had long healed. Jasmine, too, was feeling the pressure. Though her engagement had started as a fairy tale, Malik's growing discomfort with the attention began straining their relationship. He didn't sign up to be part of Kirk's soap opera, one of his associates said. The couple had a tense dinner at a midtown restaurant days after the unfollowing incident. Witnesses claimed voices were raised, with Malik telling her, "I love you, Jasmine. But this mess follows you everywhere." She replied, "It's not my fault they can't let the past go." The confrontation ended with Malik leaving early. Paparazzi catching him slamming his car door as Jasmine sat staring out the window, visibly shaken. That image of her alone, her diamond ring gleaming in the streetlight, became the new symbol of the drama's next phase. Meanwhile, Kirk tried to stay quiet. He cancelled a scheduled radio interview and retreated to his studio. But according to a producer who was there, he kept replaying Jasmine's engagement video. He'd watch it, then mute it, then just stare. Despite everything, part of him still couldn't let go. He's not angry anymore, the source said. He's grieving what could have been. But grief has its limits. And soon, his silence would break again in the most unexpected way. Jasmine's engagement, which began as a celebration of love, was now unraveling under the same public microscope that once tore apart her past. Friends urged her to take a break, to go offline, but she refused. "If they want to watch," she said in a now-deleted post, "let them. I'm not hiding my happiness to make anyone comfortable." That single statement lit another fire online. Supporters praised her strength, while critics accused her of taunting Rashida and exploiting Kirk's breakdown. Malik, tired of the noise, deleted his social media altogether. And insiders whispered that the engagement might already be in trouble. Atlanta had officially taken sides. Team Jasmine argued she had the right to move on. Team Rashida called her engagement a performance. And somewhere in between, Kirk sat quietly, scrolling through headlines that described him as heartbroken, unstable, and still obsessed. The truth, though, was more complicated. Kirk Frost wasn't chasing Jasmine anymore, but he couldn't escape the shadow she cast over his life. Her engagement had not only reignited his regrets, it had exposed the emotional wreckage left behind by years of public scandal. And as the city buzzed with talk of loyalty, love, and revenge, one thing became clear: Jasmine's new chapter had begun. But the past she shared with Kirk was not done writing its story yet. The morning Jasmine's engagement ring photo reached 5 million likes, Kendra woke up to chaos of her own. Her phone buzzed non-stop with messages from castmates, reporters, and fans asking for her thoughts. Everyone remembered what she had said weeks earlier in that now infamous reunion confession: "I love Kirk." What had sounded like a drunken slip of emotion had now become ammunition in the city's most complicated love storm. Social media turned Kendra into the new center of speculation. Memes called her the wild card. And rumors began that Kirk had been leaning on her for comfort ever since Jasmine's engagement went public. By noon, a gossip blog posted a blurry photo of Kendra leaving Kirk's studio late at night. The caption read, "Old wounds, new flames." Within hours, her name was trending again. Kendra tried to stay calm. She recorded a brief Instagram story saying, "Don't believe everything you see. People love to twist." But her tone-shaky eyes tired only fueled more curiosity. Her fiancé Jock wasn't taking it well either. He had stayed silent after her "I love Kirk" confession, choosing to handle things privately. But the new wave of attention was too much. A source close to him revealed, Jock felt embarrassed. He said every time he turns on the TV or opens his phone, it's Kendra and Kirk, not Kendra and Jock. Their relationship, already fragile after the reunion taping, began to fracture. Jock accused her of secretly meeting Kirk again, which she denied, but he wasn't convinced. "It's always him, Kendra," Jock said during an argument caught by cameras for the upcoming Love and Hip Hop season. "You say it's over, but it never feels like it." Kendra, teary-eyed, shot back, "You don't know what it's like to see someone you cared about falling apart. I'm not in love with him, I just feel sorry." But even she knew the line sounded weak. Meanwhile, Kirk, unaware of the latest online firestorm, had been spending quiet days at his studio, trying to finish a project he'd been avoiding for months. But when his manager showed him the headlines about Kendra, he froze. "Man, they think we're what?" he muttered, shaking his head. The irony wasn't lost on him. Just when he was trying to move on from one scandal, another had found him. Rashida was livid. According to a close friend, she confronted Kirk at home, demanding answers. "Why is this woman's name attached to yours again?" she said, pacing across the kitchen. Do you ever get tired of being in mess? Kirk, already exhausted, replied quietly, it's not like that. Kendra's just trying to help. But Rashida wasn't having it. Help looks a lot like history repeating, she said coldly before walking out. By that evening, production crews began planning emergency shoots to capture the unfolding chaos. Executives at VH1 reportedly called the situation ratings gold, but the cast wasn't amused. Yandi Smith publicly defended Kendra, tweeting, "Y'all turn every woman's words into a scandal. Let her breathe." But even that couldn't stop the storm. A clip soon surfaced showing Kirk and Kendra talking privately outside Frost Bistro. The camera zoomed in just as Kendra touched his arm and said, "You don't deserve to be alone." That single gesture exploded online. Fans debated whether it was sympathy or something deeper. One viral comment read, "She said she loved him. Now she's comforting him. It's giving unfinished business." Jock, seeing the clip, lost it. He confronted Kendra the next day in a tense, off-camera encounter that quickly leaked through eyewitness accounts. "You keep saying you're loyal," he said, "but every time, it's Kirk who gets your loyalty first." Kendra, cornered, responded sharply, "You don't understand what that man went through. Everyone turned their back on him. I just couldn't." Jock shot back, "Then go be with him." The argument ended with her storming out in tears, while Jock stayed behind, visibly broken. Friends later said they were taking space. Rashida, watching it all unfold, was quietly unraveling. Though she had been the image of strength through Kirk's scandals, seeing Kendra's name attached to him again reopened her deepest insecurities. She never trusted that woman, an insider revealed. She always felt Kendra had too much sympathy for Kirk. When paparazzi caught Rashida outside her store later that week, her response to a reporter asking about Kendra's confession was icy and controlled. "I don't worry about other women," she said simply. "I focus on my family." But her eyes told another story, one of fatigue and quiet resentment. Kendra, meanwhile, began questioning everything. She hadn't meant for her confession to become a scandal. It had been a moment of emotion, not desire. But now, with Jock drifting away and the public calling her a homewrecker, she felt trapped between two worlds. Her career, her marriage, her reputation all seemed to hang by a thread. Late one night, she called Kirk, voice trembling. "I didn't mean to make things worse," she said softly. Kirk replied, "You didn't. They just need something to talk about." But his reassurance did little to ease her guilt. After hanging up, she stared at her reflection and whispered, "Maybe I should have kept quiet." Atlanta was now split three ways: Team Rashida, Team Jasmine, and now, Team Kendra. The drama had become more than gossip. It was a full-blown emotional battlefield. And, as everyone picked sides, the one question no one could answer was this: who was truly telling the truth, and who was just trying to survive the spotlight? Just when it seemed the city had reached peak drama, the next bombshell dropped. Late one night, a mysterious anonymous source leaked a series of text messages between Kirk and Kendra. Screenshots circulated across Twitter, Instagram, and multiple celebrity blogs. Some were innocent, some flirtatious, and others borderline emotional confessions. One message read, "I don't know how to handle this. Rashida doesn't know how much I care about you." Another said, "You mean more to me than anyone else right now, and I can't show it." The messages were vague enough to keep people speculating, but specific enough to ignite a firestorm. Within hours, hashtags like hashtag Kirk and Kendra and hashtag Frost Scandal trended nationwide. Rashida saw the leak first, sitting in her car outside a recording studio. Her hands gripped the steering wheel, trembling as she scrolled. "I can't believe this," she whispered, eyes wide. She called Kirk immediately. "What the hell is this?" she demanded. Kirk, exhausted and frustrated, tried to calm her. "Babe, that's not what it looks like. It's being taken out of context. I swear nothing happened." Rashida's voice broke through the phone, a mixture of rage and despair. "Out of context? Out of context doesn't read like I care about you more than anyone. Are you serious?" She hung up before he could respond. Meanwhile, Kendra received threats, supportive messages, and everything in between. Some fans defended her, saying Kirk's words were clearly emotional support and nothing more. Others were ruthless. Homewrecker, serial manipulator, and Atlanta's newest drama queen flooded her notifications. She tried to explain herself in a live Instagram session, her voice breaking as she said, "These texts were taken completely out of context. Kirk and I have been trying to navigate the reunion chaos. That's all. I never wanted to hurt anyone." But the damage was already done. The leaks made it look like she had been orchestrating something behind everyone's back, and no explanation seemed to satisfy the audience. Kirk's camp also reacted. His manager held an emergency press conference. Kirk is committed to his marriage and nothing more, he said firmly. These messages are from a very emotional period, and they've been edited and leaked maliciously, but online, the public didn't care. Memes, reaction videos, and countdowns to the next episode fueled the frenzy. Even celebrities began weighing in. Tamar Braxton tweeted, "Emotions are messy, but loyalty is everything. Stay in your lane, Atlanta." That only made people dig deeper into the scandal. The leak forced production to reschedule the reunion taping. Cameras that were supposed to capture lighthearted moments between the cast were now set up to film confessions and confrontations. Jock, furious after seeing the messages, confronted Kendra once more off camera. "I can't do this anymore," he said, pacing back and forth. "You say you love me, but your heart belongs somewhere else. I'm done." Kendra, shaking, tried to explain. "No, Jock, I never loved him that way. It's more complicated than you think." Jock's eyes filled with anger and sorrow. "Complicated? You're choosing drama over me? That's not love, Kendra, that's cowardice." In the midst of all this, Rashida's image skyrocketed as the woman who had been betrayed but remained composed. Fans and media outlets called her the Queen of Resilience, while speculating about whether she would finally confront Kirk on camera. Kirk, meanwhile, retreated further, staying off social media and avoiding public appearances. Sources close to him revealed he was emotionally drained and living in fear that the next leak will destroy him entirely. Kendra, unable to leave her apartment without cameras snapping her, began having sleepless nights, questioning every choice she'd made in the past few weeks. Then came the final twist for this chapter. A hidden video surfaced of Kirk and Kendra talking outside Frost Bistro late at night, filmed by an unseen paparazzi. In it, Kirk says, "I never wanted this to happen. I love Rashida. I just care about you right now." Kendra responds softly, "I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to help." The clip went viral instantly, igniting debate over what care really meant and whether emotions could ever be innocent in such a tangled situation. Fans argued for weeks, dissecting every facial expression, every pause, every word. Atlanta was no longer just watching reality TV. It had become a case study in loyalty, love, and emotional chaos. Every cast member had a side to defend, every fan had a theory, and the city itself seemed split down the middle. One thing was certain: nothing would ever be simple again. The storm that started with Kendra's confession had now become an unstoppable tidal wave of text leaks, public confrontations, and viral clips. And just when everyone thought the narrative had settled, whispers of yet another secret one that could involve a brand new romantic twist started surfacing behind closed doors, promising that the drama was far from over. As the city reeled from the text leaks, tensions within the Frost family began boiling over. Rashida's parents, longtime supporters of her marriage, were furious. "Kirk needs to wake up and take responsibility," her mother shouted during a rare family dinner that was supposed to be celebratory. "You've humiliated our family in front of the world." Rashida, sitting quietly at the head of the table, clenched her fists under the table. She had spent years trying to maintain composure, but now she felt the cracks forming. "I can't fix what's already broken," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Her father shook his head, muttering about loyalty and respect. While Rashida's siblings exchanged glances that spoke volumes, everyone knew the marriage had been tested before. But this felt different, rawer, and more public. Meanwhile, Kirk was cornered by his own extended family. Cousins, uncles, and even former friends reached out, offering advice, criticism, and unsolicited opinions. "You've made a mess," one uncle reportedly said during a phone call that leaked online. "You keep running back to women who aren't yours to have." Kirk listened quietly, his jaw tight. But inside, rage and shame battled for control. Every text from Kendra, every public headline, every viral clip made him question his own judgment. Friends said he was paralyzed with guilt, yet unable to step back, trapped between defending his marriage and facing the consequences of his actions. At the same time, Kendra felt the weight of everyone's judgment. Jock, who had been her partner and shield for months, pulled away emotionally. "I can't watch this anymore," he told her, his voice tight with hurt. "Every time I try to move forward with you, the past drags us back. I feel like I'm competing with ghosts." Kendra's eyes welled up, but she refused to apologize for feelings that were never meant to be weaponized. "I didn't ask for this," she said softly. "I didn't plan for anyone to get hurt." But Jock's patience had limits, and by the next morning, he had decided to step back, leaving Kendra to navigate the public storm alone. The cast members' reactions were just as intense. Yandi, always vocal, released a statement defending Kendra but also calling for accountability. Mendices weighed in privately with fans, saying he understood the emotional complexity but warned, "You play with fire in this city, and it will burn you." Even lesser-known cast members began sharing cryptic social media posts about loyalty, betrayal, and the dangers of mixing friendship and romance in the spotlight. Every post, every comment, every story added fuel to a fire that seemed impossible to control. Public opinion became a battlefield. Fans picked sides, dissecting every clip and text, debating morality, loyalty, and love. Twitter threads became war zones of speculation. Some argued that Kirk was the victim, trapped between past mistakes and current temptation. Others blamed Kendra for opening old wounds. Many sided with Rashida, praising her restraint and resilience while demanding Kirk publicly own up to the emotional chaos he had caused. Meanwhile, Jasmine's engagement acted as a mirror for the drama, reminding everyone that life moved on, even when the past refused to stay buried. The tension reached a breaking point when Rashida confronted Kendra, off-camera, in a tense, private meeting arranged by mutual friends. The room was silent except for the low hum of the air conditioner. Rashida's voice was calm but firm. "You need to understand something," she said, eyes fixed on Kendra. "I trusted Kirk with my life, and you without meaning to exploited his weakness. Do you understand that?" Kendra, swallowing hard, nodded. "I never meant to hurt you," she replied softly. "I care about him, yes, but it's not the way people are making it out to be." Rashida studied her for a long moment, then said quietly, "Care has consequences. And right now, the consequences are on all of us." The two women parted with unspoken tension, each feeling the weight of public judgment, personal loyalty, and private pain. Kirk, oblivious to the private reconciliation attempts, tried to focus on work. He spent long hours at the studio, but every social media notification reminded him of the disaster unfolding outside. Paparazzi followed him relentlessly, snapping photos of his empty coffee cups, his restless walks, and even moments when he appeared visibly shaken. Fans debated whether he was coping or unraveling. Behind closed doors, insiders said he cried more in the past week than in the previous year combined. Yet, the public only saw the headlines. Kirk Frost spirals after Kendra text leak, and Rashida silent as Kirk's life unravels. Atlanta, now fully invested, continued to divide along lines of loyalty and judgment. Conversations at restaurants, gyms, and social gatherings centered on Kirk, Kendra, Rashida, and Jasmine. Every personal decision became a topic of debate. Every emotional confession, public or private, was scrutinized under a microscope. Friends, family, fans, and cast members all navigated the tension differently. But one thing was clear. The Frost saga had evolved from a personal mess into a citywide cultural moment. And the fallout from Kendra's confession had just begun to show its true scale. The week ended with Kirk posting a cryptic photo of a stormy ocean on Instagram. The caption read simply, "Some tides you can't control." Fans immediately connected the metaphor to the ongoing drama, interpreting it as a public acknowledgement of guilt, regret, and emotional turmoil. In living rooms, offices, and social media feeds across Atlanta, conversations erupted once more. No one knew exactly what would happen next, but one thing was certain. The family was divided, loyalties had been tested, and the city was glued to every unfolding twist, waiting to see who would rise, who would fall, and who would finally find a way to navigate the chaos that had become their reality. Just when it seemed the Frost saga had reached its peak, new alliances began to emerge, shifting the balance of power among the cast and turning private tensions into full-blown public intrigue. Yandy, always strategic, started quietly advising Rashida on how to handle both Kirk and Kendra without looking weak. "You don't have to confront him directly," she told Rashida during a phone call. "Let the public see your strength while you navigate this smartly behind the scenes." Rashida took the advice seriously, carefully curating her social media posts, maintaining a calm demeanor, and letting the leaks and confrontations do the drama for her. Meanwhile, Kendra found herself isolated. Jock had pulled back, fans were divided, and even some of her closest friends weren't sure how to support her without becoming targets themselves. Behind closed doors, alliances shifted unpredictably. Mendices, who had been observing quietly, decided to step in. He arranged a private meeting with Kendra and Jock, hoping to mediate before the tension boiled over further. "Look," he said, leaning back in his chair, "you both need to stop letting this become bigger than your lives. The public can't control your decisions, only you can. Figure out what's loyalty, what's love, and what's just drama." Jock, still seething, crossed his arms. "Easy for you to say. You're not the one dealing with the ghost of a past relationship and the woman who admitted she loved him. Kendra, tears threatening to spill, whispered, I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I never meant for any of this to explode. Mendices gave a long sigh. Intentions don't matter when actions speak louder. You're in the spotlight, and now everything you do will be analyzed. Meanwhile, Kirk felt trapped between protecting his marriage and managing the consequences of Kendra's confession. He tried to maintain normalcy, attending family dinners, business meetings, and even a charity event, but everywhere he went, whispers followed him. Fans and paparazzi questioned his every move, dissecting body language and facial expressions. Some clips suggested he looked haunted, others defensive, and yet others remorseful. Each interpretation fueled the narrative that Kirk was a man torn between love, loyalty, and temptation. As if the personal drama wasn't enough, the network decided to escalate the stakes. Producers secretly filmed additional confessionals, capturing Kendra, Kirk, Rashida, and even Jock, discussing the leaks, emotional breakdowns, and past secrets. They emphasized confrontation, emotional intensity, and unfiltered reactions. Kendra's confessional revealed her guilt and confusion in raw detail. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just saw a man struggling, and I cared. But now, I feel like I've become the villain in someone else's story. Kirk's confessional showed his inner turmoil. I love my wife. I do. But every time Kendra shows concern, I can't ignore it. It doesn't mean anything more, but it looks terrible, and the world is watching. Rashida, however, emerged as the voice of control and composure. She spoke about boundaries, respect, and the need to protect one's family. Fans instantly praised her, dubbing her the Frost Queen and applauding her emotional resilience. Yet, insiders hinted at cracks in her armor. Late-night texts to friends suggested she was grappling with the duality of wanting to forgive Kirk while fearing further betrayal. Kendra, seeing Rashida's unwavering poise, admitted privately to a friend, I admire her strength. I wish I could be half as composed in this storm. Tensions intensified when a new revelation emerged. An anonymous crew member leaked a clip showing Kirk and Jasmine exchanging private messages, sparking fresh speculation. Although the texts were innocent in nature, they arrived at a time when public opinion was already polarized, reigniting debates about Kirk's loyalty and intentions. Fans argued endlessly on social media. Was Kirk genuinely committed to Rashida, or had he created a web of complicated relationships he could no longer manage? Was Kendra simply a friend trying to help, or was she stirring emotional conflict? Was Jasmine's engagement a peaceful escape or a strategic move to provoke Kirk and Rashida? In the midst of all this, Jock decided to assert his independence. He posted a candid video on social media, expressing frustration at being drawn into a storm not of his making. I'm not here to police emotions, he said. I care about Kendra, yes, but I'm not going to compete with history or heartbreak. Everyone needs to own their choices and deal with the consequences. The post went viral, with thousands commenting in support, while others criticized him for walking away from responsibility. By the end of the week, Atlanta had become a chessboard of relationships, alliances, and rivalries. Every move made by Kirk, Rashida, Kendra, Hawk, or Jasmine was scrutinized, debated, and turned into content for public consumption. Friends turned into strategists, enemies into temporary allies, and every private conversation risked leaking into the spotlight. The story had grown beyond the personal into a citywide obsession, leaving fans, cast members, and the family itself wondering how much more the Frost saga could endure before the next explosive revelation emerged. And just when it seemed everyone had picked their sides, a new rumor surfaced. A mysterious figure, allegedly close to the cast, had information about a secret meeting between Kendra and an unnamed individual, hinting that another twist was about to unfold, promising to shake the already fractured alliances and force everyone to confront truths they had been avoiding. The tension was far from over, and Atlanta braced itself for what would surely become the next unforgettable chapter in the Frost family drama. So, after everything you've just seen, you've witnessed the raw emotions, the betrayals, the confessions, and the unexpected twists that have shaken Atlanta to its core. You've seen Kendra's shocking confession, Kirk's public breakdown, Rashida's quiet strength, and Jasmine's engagement that has left everyone divided. You've followed every heated argument, every whispered secret, and every text that has now gone viral. The story isn't just about reality TV anymore. It's about loyalty, love, heartbreak, and the drama that keeps us glued to our screens. And if you thought you knew what was coming next, think again. Because in this city, nothing is ever simple, and everyone has their hidden agendas. Now, here's where we turn the spotlight on you. the fans who've been following this story with bated breath. We want to hear your thoughts, your theories, your opinions. Do you believe Kendra truly meant what she said when she confessed she loved Kirk? Or was it simply a moment of sympathy blown out of proportion? Do you think Kirk's loyalty to Rashida is genuine, or has he secretly allowed old feelings to linger? And what about Jasmine? Was her engagement a symbol of true love and moving on, or a strategic move designed to shake the foundation of the Frost family? These are questions only you, the viewers, can answer. Because your voice shapes the conversation, fuels the drama, and keeps the story alive. We also want you to consider the families, the friendships, and the alliances that have been tested. Rashida has been a pillar of strength, but even she faces moments of doubt and pain. The cast members, caught between loyalty and personal feelings, have shown us that reality TV drama isn't scripted, it's lived, breathed, and sometimes painfully raw. As the events unfold, it becomes clear that every decision has consequences. Every confession ignites debate, and every leaked message has the power to divide or unite the people around them. Your insights, your comments, your reactions matter, because without you, the storm we've witnessed wouldn't have the same intensity or reach. So, here's what we want you to do right now. Hit that like button if you've been shocked, stunned, or even secretly rooting for one side. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update, because trust me, in this saga, every moment counts. And the next chapter could completely change the game. And most importantly, comment below with your thoughts. Tell us who you side with: Team Rashida, Team Kendra, Team Jasmine, or even Team Kirk. Tell us what you think will happen next, what secrets might still be hiding, and how these relationships could evolve. Your voice isn't just part of the conversation, it's part of the story itself. And we read every comment, every theory, every passionate debate. Remember, this isn't just entertainment. It's a deep dive into the complexities of love, loyalty, and human emotion. It's about watching people navigate choices that are messy, sometimes devastating, but always compelling. It's about seeing raw, unfiltered reality, and then stepping back to analyze, to discuss, and to decide where your loyalties lie. So take a moment, engage with the story, and let us know where you stand. Your participation keeps this drama alive, intensifies the suspense, and ensures that no twist, no confession, and no betrayal goes unnoticed. Atlanta has seen heartbreak, scandal, and shocking revelations, but the story is far from over. Your opinions, your reactions, and your engagement will shape what happens next. So don't hold back. Dive in, speak up, and become a part of the conversation that's capturing the city, the cast, and the fans worldwide. Every like, every comment, every subscription isn't just a number, it's a vote, a voice, and a stake in this epic drama. Now go ahead, make your mark, and let us know what you think, because in the world of reality TV, your voice matters as much as anyone's on screen.